The rain pounded against the stained glass windows of St. Patrick's Cathedral like accusatory fists, each drop echoing the shattering of my world. I stood there, numb, clutching the program with Jordan's smiling face. My wife, gone too soon at 35 from a cruel twist of fate in a car accident that stole her from me. And then as the last mourner filed out, Brooke, Jordan's estranged best friend from college, slipped into the pew beside me, her eyes red-rimmed, and whispered, "Alexis, there's something Jordan left behind that could destroy us both." I never expected Brooke to show up at the funeral. Jordan and I had been married for 8 years, building our life in the heart of Manhattan, where the city's relentless energy mirrored our own ambitions. I was the driven architect, sketching blueprints for high-rises that pierced the skyline, while Jordan was the free-spirited artist whose paintings captured the soul of New York, vibrant, chaotic, and deeply human. Our love story started in a crowded Brooklyn cafe, where she spilled coffee on my sketches, laughing it off with that infectious grin that made my heart skip. We were the epitome of a modern lesbian couple, out and proud, hosting rooftop parties with our circle of friends, traveling to Provincetown for weekends of sun and sea. But Brooke? She was a ghost from Jordan's past, someone mentioned in passing during late-night confessions over wine. "We were inseparable in college," Jordan would say, her voice tinged with a nostalgia that always made me a little jealous. "But life pulled us apart." I didn't press. Jealousy wasn't our style. Yet there she was at the funeral, her presence like a shadow I couldn't shake. After the service, as friends offered condolences in the cathedral's echoing hall, Brooke approached me hesitantly. She was striking, tall with sharp features, short blonde hair framing her face like a halo, dressed in a simple black suit that screamed Wall Street sophistication. "Alexis, I'm so sorry," she said, her voice steady but her hands trembling as she handed me a small envelope. "Jordan wanted you to have this. It's important." I took it, my fingers brushing hers, and felt an inexplicable spark amid the grief. Inside was a keycard to a safe deposit box at a Midtown bank, with a note in Jordan's handwriting. "For the one who understands my secrets. Forgive me." My stomach twisted. What secrets? Jordan and I shared everything, or so I thought. That night, back in our empty Tribeca loft, the walls closing in with memories, I couldn't sleep. Jordan's easel stood untouched in the corner, her last unfinished canvas, a swirl of blues and grays that now seemed prophetic of the storm ahead. I poured myself a scotch, the burn matching the ache in my chest, and decided to call Brooke. Her number was on the envelope, scrawled hastily. "Why now?" I demanded when she answered, my voice cracking. "Why didn't you come sooner?" There was a pause, then her soft reply. "Because Jordan made me promise to wait until after. She didn't want to hurt you while she was alive." Hurt me? The words hung like a noose. We agreed to meet the next day at the bank, and as I hung up, a mix of anger and curiosity gnawed at me. Who was this woman really to hold pieces of my wife's life I didn't know existed? The bank was a sterile fortress on Fifth Avenue, buzzing with the lunchtime crowd. Brooke was waiting outside, her coat flapping in the autumn wind, a coffee in each hand. "Black, no sugar, Jordan mentioned that's how you like it," she said with a small smile. It was a detail that stung, a reminder of how intertwined their past must have been. We signed in, and the vault attendant led us to the box. My hand shook as I inserted the keycard. Inside, documents, a USB drive, and a letter addressed to both of us. Jordan's words leaped off the page. "My loves, yes, both of you. Brooke, the inheritance from my family's estate is yours to manage, but share it with Alexis. She'll need it to heal. I betrayed you both by keeping this quiet, but it was to protect our futures." Inheritance? Jordan's family was old money from the Hamptons, but she'd always said they'd cut her off when she came out. Apparently that was a lie. Millions, the documents revealed. Stocks, properties, a trust fund untouched for years. Brooke's face paled as she read. "She never told me either," she whispered, sinking into a chair. We had a thing in college, Alexis. Brief, intense. But she chose you, and I respected that." The revelation hit like a subway train. Betrayal coursed through me. Jordan with Brooke? My mind reeled with images of stolen kisses in dorm rooms, whispers under ivy-covered walls at Yale. But amid the anger, there was something else. Understanding. Jordan had loved fiercely, perhaps too much for one person. We left the bank in silence, the weight of millions in memories pressing down. That evening, over takeout Chinese in my loft, Brooke opened up. I moved to San Francisco after graduation, built a tech startup. Jordan invested secretly. That's how the money grew. Her eyes met mine, vulnerable. I think she wanted us to find each other. As the city lights twinkled outside, I felt a pull toward her, a dangerous spark in the ashes of grief. The weeks blurred into a haze of paperwork and emotions. Brooke stayed in New York, crashing on my couch at first, then in the guest room. We pored over the documents, unraveling Jordan's web of secrets. The inheritance wasn't just money. It was tied to a nonprofit Jordan had quietly funded, aiding LGBTQ+ youth in crisis. She was building a legacy, Brooke said one night, as we sat on the balcony overlooking the Hudson. Her hand brushed mine and I didn't pull away. The drama unfolded slowly. Jordan's family had reconciled in secret, leaving her the estate on the condition she kept it quiet to avoid taxes or scandals. But why hide it from me? Fear, Brooke suggested, of changing us. Our conversations turned intimate, sharing stories of Jordan's quirks, her love for jazz clubs in Harlem, her habit of dancing in the rain. Laughter mingled with tears, forging a bond one hadn't anticipated. Then came the conflict. Jordan's brother, a conservative lawyer from Connecticut, contested the will, claiming undue influence from her lifestyle choices. Hearings in a stuffy courtroom on Center Street became battlegrounds. Brooke, with her sharp mind, fought alongside my attorney, her presence a steady anchor. But whispers of our growing closeness fueled rumors. Is this why she left it to you? He sneered in deposition. The betrayal stung anew. Jordan's family using her death to erase her truth. One evening after a grueling day, Brooke confessed over wine. I loved her, Alexis. But I'm falling for you now. My heart raced. Was this rebound or real? I kissed her then, soft and tentative, the city humming below like approval. It was romantic, charged with the electricity of new beginnings amid old wounds. As fall turned to winter, our relationship deepened. We walked Central Park hand in hand, snowflakes dusting our shoulders, talking dreams. Brooke's startup focused on AI for social good. I incorporated sustainable designs into my architecture. The inheritance funded it all, renovating a brownstone in Chelsea for the nonprofit, naming it Jordan's Haven. But shadows lingered. A late-night email from an anonymous sender. Photos of Jordan and Brooke from college, intimate and damning. She never stopped loving her, the message read. Paranoia set in. Was Brooke using me to claim the money? I confronted her in our now shared loft, voices rising like the sirens outside. Did you know about the will? I accused. Tears streamed down her face. No. I swear, Alexis. This is us now, not the past. The high point came at the gala for Jordan's Haven. Lights glittering in the Metropolitan Museum's hall. Donors mingled, toasting Jordan's memory. Brooke, in a stunning gown, pulled me aside. Marry me, she whispered, a ring glinting in her palm. Jordan's reset with our birthstones. Emotion overwhelmed me. Love, forgiveness, humanity in the face of loss. But just as I said yes, Jordan's brother stormed in, waving papers. Fraud. The inheritance is mine. Chaos erupted. Security escorting him out. Flashes from paparazzi. In the aftermath, we uncovered the truth. He'd forged documents, driven by greed and bigotry. The courts ruled in our favor, but the scar remained. With the legal battles behind us, Brooke and I settled into a rhythm that felt both familiar and exhilarating. The brownstone in Chelsea buzzed with activity. Youth groups meeting in sunlit rooms, art classes inspired by Jordan's work. I threw myself into redesigning spaces, creating safe havens where kids could be themselves without fear. Brooke handled the tech side, developing apps for mental health support, her San Francisco savvy blending seamlessly with New York's grit. Our days ended with walks along the High Line, hands intertwined, sharing dreams under the stars peeking through the urban canopy. This is what Jordan wanted, Brooke would say, her voice soft with conviction. And I believed her. The pain of betrayal softening into a tapestry of shared love. But drama has a way of resurfacing, like weeds in cracked sidewalks. One crisp January morning as snow blanketed the city, I found Brooke hunched over her laptop in our kitchen, face illuminated by the screen's glow. What's wrong? I asked, pouring coffee. She hesitated, then turned the screen. An old email chain from Jordan, dated months before the accident. Brooke, I can't keep this from Alexis forever. The money is for both of you. My way of making amends. Amends for what? Further down, Jordan confessed. During a rough patch in our marriage 2 years ago, when my workaholic tendencies strained us, she'd reconnected with Brooke online. No physical affair but emotional late-night chats, shared vulnerabilities. It was nothing, Brooke insisted, closing the laptop. We stopped when she realized it hurt you indirectly. But the words burned. Jordan had turned to her, not me. Doubt crept in, a cold wind through our warm home. The conflict escalated during a trip to the Hamptons, where Jordan's family estate stood. A sprawling mansion overlooking the Atlantic, now ours to decide on. We drove out in Brooke's Tesla, the silence thick as Long Island traffic. Why didn't you tell me about the emails? I finally asked, staring at the passing dunes. I didn't want to reopen wounds, she replied, gripping the wheel. At the house, memories flooded. Jordan and I vacationing there secretly, despite her family's disapproval. We wandered the empty rooms, dust motes dancing in sunlight. In the attic, we found boxes of old letters, Jordan's college correspondence with Brooke, filled with passion and poetry. We were young, reckless, Brooke said, tears falling. But that was then. Jealousy flared. Hot and irrational. Was I second choice? I shouted, the ocean's roar mirroring my turmoil. She pulled me close, whispering, no, you're my everything now. That night, by a crackling fire, we talked for hours, raw, honest confessions. Brooke admitted the pull of the past but affirmed her love for me. Jordan's death brought us together, but it's our choice to stay. Emotion peaked as we cried, laughed, forgave. Romance bloomed anew. We made love gently, the waves crashing like applause. But the next day, a call from our lawyer shattered the peace. Jordan's brother had appealed, digging up evidence of Brooke's involvement in the will's drafting. It's a smear campaign, he said. Back in the city, tabloids splashed headlines. Widow's new love tied to million-dollar mystery. Friends distanced themselves. Whispers at work questioned my judgment. The pressure mounted, testing our bond. High drama unfolded at a mediation in a sleek midtown office. Jordan's brother glaring across the table. You manipulated her, he accused Brooke. She stood tall, recounting their friendship's purity. Jordan wanted unity, not division. I testified to our love, the nonprofit's impact. Stories of kids saved from the streets, finding hope. The mediator ruled. The will stood, but with a compromise, a portion to family charities. Relief washed over us, but the betrayal lingered. That evening, in a cozy Greenwich Village bistro, Brooke proposed again, properly this time, with a new ring symbolizing fresh starts. Through the chaos, I choose you, she said. I accepted, tears of joy mixing with wine. As spring thawed the city, our life flourished. Jordan's haven expanded, hosting events that drew celebrities and activists. Brooke and I balanced work and romance. Picnics in Washington Square Park, jazz nights echoing Jordan's spirit. But a final twist loomed. An anonymous package arrived, containing a journal from Jordan. Entries revealed her internal struggle. Loving 2 women, fearing loss. If I'm gone, let them find solace in each other, she wrote. It was her blessing, a posthumous gift. We read it together on our balcony, the Empire State Building aglow. She knew, I whispered. Brooke nodded, pulling me close. The humanity of it all, flawed love, redemption, wove us tighter. Yet not all was smooth. Brooke's ex from San Francisco resurfaced, a tech mogul offering her a partnership that could skyrocket her career. But in California, it's tempting, she admitted over brunch at a Soho cafe. My heart sank. Was this the end? Conflict brewed. Stay for us or chase dreams. We argued in our loft, voices echoing off exposed brick. Don't make me choose, she pleaded. But I saw the spark in her eyes, the same ambition that built her empire. In a moment of clarity, I said, go, but come back to me. She left for a trial period, the apartment echoing with absence. Days turned to weeks. Phone calls sustained us, laced with longing. The climax hit during Pride Month, rainbow flags fluttering across Manhattan. Brooke returned unexpectedly, bursting into Jordan's haven during a fundraiser. I can't do it without you, she declared, dropping to one knee amid cheers. Marry me, Alexis, here now forever. The room erupted. We exchanged vows in an impromptu ceremony, surrounded by the community we'd built. It was romantic, dramatic, fireworks over the Hudson sealing our union. But beneath the joy, a subtle by tragedy lingered. Jordan's absence, a void filled but never erased. In the quiet aftermath, we honeymooned in Provincetown, walking beaches where Jordan and I once dreamed. She'd be proud, Brooke said, hand in mine. The inheritance funded global expansions of the nonprofit, touching lives worldwide. Our story became one of resilience. Love reborn from ashes, humanity triumphing over betrayal. Yet, in still moments I wondered, was this fate or coincidence? The answer didn't matter, we had each other. Marriage to Brooke brought a whirlwind of changes, painting our life in bolder strokes against New York's canvas. We moved into a larger penthouse in the West Village, with views of the bustling streets below. Artists, lovers, dreamers all weaving the city's tapestry. Mornings started with coffee on the terrace, discussing plans for Jordan's haven, which now included scholarships for queer youth in STEM and arts. Brooke's tech expertise integrated virtual reality therapy sessions, helping kids navigate identity in a digital age. I focused on architecture, designing inclusive spaces nationwide, from community centers in Chicago to retreats in the Rockies. Our love was a quiet fire, stoked by shared purpose and stolen kisses amid the chaos. But shadows from the past refused to fade entirely. One sweltering summer day, as heat waves shimmered off sidewalks, I received a call from an unknown number. Alexis? It's Mia, Jordan's cousin. Her voice was hesitant, laced with urgency. We met at a quiet cafe in the East Village, away from prying eyes. Mia, a soft-spoken librarian from Boston, slid a folder across the table. Jordan confided in me before the accident. There's more to the inheritance. Inside, records of offshore accounts, hidden investments totaling another few million. But the bombshell, Jordan had named Brooke as primary beneficiary because of a pact from college. If either died young, the other would use the wealth for good. She felt guilty about ending things with Brooke, Mia explained. Wanted to make it right. Betrayal twisted anew. Jordan playing God with our lives. I confronted Brooke that evening in our penthouse, the air conditioner humming like tension. Why the secrets? I demanded, waving the folder. She sank onto the couch, face crumpling. I didn't know the full extent. Jordan hinted, but I thought it was just the trust. Tears fell as she admitted. During their reconnection, Jordan had shared plans, swearing her to silence. It was her way of protecting you from her family's mess. Anger surged. How many layers to this onion? We argued late into the night, voices echoing off high ceilings. You could have told me. I shouted. Trust is everything. She reached for me, but I pulled away, storming to the guest room. Sleep evaded me, memories of Jordan's laughter clashing with this new reality. The drama intensified when Mia revealed Jordan's brother was behind the anonymous tips, hoping to fracture us and reclaim funds. He's desperate, she said over a follow-up call. United in purpose, Brooke and I flew to Boston, confronting him at his stately home. The meeting was tense, rain lashing windows like accusations. You win, he grumbled, signing over rights in exchange for a small settlement. Victory was bittersweet. It highlighted the fractures in Jordan's family, mended only by her death. On the flight back, Brooke held my hand. We're stronger for this, she whispered. Romance rekindled in the turbulence, literally and figuratively, as we leaned on each other. Back in New York, we channeled the energy into the nonprofit. A major event at the Stonewall commemorated the anniversary of the riots, with us as keynote speakers. Sharing our story, grief, love, betrayal, redemption, drew applause, inspiring others. But personally, doubts lingered. Was our marriage built on Jordan's foundation or our own? One autumn evening, as leaves carpeted Washington Square, I voiced it. Do you love me or the memory? Brooke stopped, turning to face me under an arch. You. Always you. Her kiss was fervent, sealing doubts away. Then came the high emotional peak. Brooke's pregnancy announcement. We decided on IVF, using a donor, blending our dreams of family. Joy exploded. Ultrasounds, nursery planning in the penthouse. But complications arose. Brooke's high-risk status meant bed rest, amplifying fears. What if I lose this too? she confided, echoing my grief over Jordan. We navigated doctor visits in Upper East Side clinics, holding hands through scans. The humanity shown. Vulnerability forging deeper bonds. Friends rallied, our community a safety net. Conflict resurfaced with Brooke's ex, who sued for intellectual property from their shared startup days. Now tied to the inheritance. Courtrooms became familiar again, this time in Silicon Valley via video. She's after the money, Brooke sighed after a hearing. Paranoia peaked. I questioned loyalties. But evidence cleared her, revealing the ex's greed. In the resolution, we donated a portion to women's tech initiatives, turning poison to purpose. As winter blanketed the city once more, our daughter arrived. A tiny bundle named Jordan Brooke with eyes like the sea. Holding her in the hospital, surrounded by beeps and soft lights. Emotion overwhelmed. This is our legacy, I whispered to Brooke. She smiled through exhaustion, our family complete. The romantic haze of new parenthood enveloped us. Sleepless nights in the penthouse cooing over milestones. Yet, a subtle by tragedy threaded through. Jordan's absence at holidays, her paintings watching over the nursery like guardians. We honored her with stories, ensuring her spirit lived on. Life's drama softened into rhythms of love. Park outings, family trips to the Hamptons now filled with laughter. Brooke's career soared. Mine too, with awards for inclusive designs. The inheritance, once a curse, became a blessing, funding dreams worldwide. In quiet moments I'd trace Brooke's face, marveling at fate's twists. From ashes to this, she'd say. Our story was one of profound humanity. Flawed hearts finding harmony in America's melting pot. Parenthood transformed us, infusing our days with the pure chaos of a toddler in Manhattan. Little Jordan, Geordie as we called her, toddled through our penthouse, her giggles echoing off the walls like music. Mornings were a blur of sippy cups and storybooks, Brooke juggling Zoom calls while I sketched designs on napkins. We balanced it all with the help of a nanny, but the core was us. A family forged from loss and love. Jordan's haven thrived, now a national model with branches in LA and Miami. We hosted galas at the Guggenheim where art and activism met, raising millions for queer causes. Life felt full, romantic in its everyday magic, date nights at hidden speakeasies, whispering sweet nothings over craft cocktails. But as with any drama, peace was fleeting. One fateful spring, during a routine audit of the inheritance funds, discrepancies surfaced. Our accountant, a trusted friend from my firm, flagged unusual transfers, small at first, then escalating. It looks like embezzlement, he said gravely over coffee in Bryant Park. Panic set in. Who? Investigations pointed inward. Brooke's assistant, a young woman we'd hired from the nonprofit. Motive? Greed, amplified by personal struggles. The betrayal cut deep, someone we'd helped turning on us. How could this happen? Brooke lamented, pacing our living room as Geordie napped. We reported it, leading to arrests in a sting operation worthy of a thriller. The media frenzy revisited our story. Millionaire widows hit by inside job. Privacy shattered, we shielded Geordie from the glare. The conflict deepened when evidence suggested the assistant had been tipped off by Jordan's brother. Still bitter. Revenge, Brooke muttered during a late-night strategy session. We flew to Connecticut, confronting him in his now dilapidated home. You did this, I accused. He denied, but cracks showed, emails linking him. Legal action followed. A drawn-out battle in federal court. Emotions ran high. Fear for our safety, anger at endless drama. One night, after a hearing, Brooke broke down in our hotel room. Is this ever going to end? She sobbed. I held her, whispering assurances, our love a anchor in the storm. Romance persisted amid turmoil. We escaped to a cabin in the Adirondacks, leaving Geordie with trusted friends. Hiking trails lined with blooming wildflowers, we reconnected. Picnics by lakes, stargazing under clear skies. You're my rock, Brooke said, her hand in mine. Intimacy returned, gentle and affirming, reminding us why we fought. Back in the city, we won the case. The brother faced charges, the assistant prison. Funds recovered, we doubled down on security, turning the experience into policy changes at the nonprofit, better vetting, transparency. High emotional waves crested with Geordie's first birthday party in Central Park. A joyous affair with balloons and cake. Friends toasted our resilience, but beneath, I sensed Brooke's restlessness. Her startup beckoned global expansion, opportunities in Europe. It's a chance to make real change, she confided over wine. My heart clenched. Another separation? We debated heatedly in our kitchen, Geordie babbling in the background. What about us? I asked. We come first, she promised, but doubt festered. The climax arrived during a transatlantic trip for her meetings. Alone with Geordie, I uncovered old letters in a forgotten drawer. Jordan's final words to Brooke. Take care of Alexis. She's the one. Jealousy flared, irrational but potent. I called Brooke in London, accusations flying. Was this all planned? Silence, then her tearful reply. No. But Jordan's ghost haunts us. The call ended in hurt. She cut the trip short, rushing home. At JFK we embraced amid crowds, forgiving in whispers. Let's lay her to rest, Brooke said. We did. A memorial ceremony at the Hamptons estate, scattering symbolic ashes into the sea. Friends joined, sharing stories. Closure washed over us like waves. Humanity prevailed. Accepting flaws, embracing growth. Our marriage strengthened, Brooke declining the expansion to stay put. As years passed, Geordie starting preschool, our careers peaking. The story's threads wove into a rich fabric. We authored a book on our journey, from grief to grace, inspiring countless. Romance evolved. Anniversary trips to Paris, quiet evenings reading to Geordie. Betrayals faded, replaced by trust. Yet, a poignant by note. Occasional melancholy, wondering what if. Jordan's paintings hung as reminders, her legacy living through us. In America's spirit of reinvention we found peace. Time softened the edges of our saga, turning sharp dramas into cherished anecdotes shared over family dinners. Geordie grew into a spirited 6-year-old, her curiosity mirroring Jordan's artistry and Brooke's intellect. We enrolled her in a progressive school in Brooklyn, where diversity was celebrated, and weekends were filled with museum visits and playground adventures. Jordan's haven had become a beacon, partnering with international orgs to support queer refugees. Brooke led virtual summits from our home office, her passion infectious. I shifted to teaching architecture at NYU, mentoring the next generation on inclusive designs. Our penthouse buzzed with life, friends dropping by, laughter filling the air. But life's kinks persisted. A health scare for Brooke, a benign lump detected during a routine check, thrust us into emotional depths. Waiting rooms in Mount Sinai became our haunt, hands clasped in silent prayer. I can't lose you, I whispered during biopsies. She squeezed back. You won't. The all-clear brought relief, but vulnerability lingered, deepening our bond. Romance bloomed in recovery. Spa days in the Catskills, reaffirming vows under ancient oaks. Conflict arose with Geordie's biological donor surfacing anonymously, seeking contact. Ethical dilemmas swirled. Privacy versus truth. We consulted therapists in cozy Upper West Side offices, weighing impacts. She's ours, Brooke insisted. Resolution came through mediation. Limited info shared, boundaries set. It humanized us further, acknowledging complexities of modern families. The ultimate high came at a national award ceremony in D.C., honoring our nonprofit. On stage at the Kennedy Center, we spoke of love's transformative power. From one woman's legacy, a movement, I said, Brooke beaming beside me. Applause thundered. Geordie watched from the audience, proud. Back home, a quiet evening on the terrace. City lights twinkling, wine in hand. We've come far, Brooke mused. I nodded, reflecting on the journey. From funeral ashes to this vibrant life. Betrayals, once gaping wounds, were scars of strength. Jordan's spirit infused it all, a gentle guide. In the end, our story closed on a note of profound humanity. Love enduring, flaws embraced. Whether happy or tinged with by melancholy, it was ours, etched in America's resilient heart. We looked forward together forever.